How you doing, everybody? It's Jesse, aka Drackbolt, for another Dune 2: The Golden Path game. Again, it is not affiliated with the original Dune 2 game in any sense or fashion from Westwood Studios, made many years ago. Because it uses intellectual property from that game, you do need to own a copy of that game to be able to download and use this project, which is free. So, here we are having another network game. This is going to be between Puxii and TheRaffy. And this game actually does, this flakes out about 15 minutes in. Basically, I lose my observer connection to the game. So the game does thankfully keep going. The two players are able to keep going against each other, and it does have a spectacular finish, I'm told, but I wasn't able to actually capture that. So what I'm doing here is I have already recorded this game previously, almost a week ago, and today, again, this is Saturday, and I'm just going crazy with all these wacky castings here. So I am recording audio for this game as I watch it again. So I don't have control over the map. I may even do really stupid things, and while I was actually just trying to visually record the game, and we'll just have to find out what happens. So anyway, we're about to get started here. We have Puxii as the Atreides, TheRaffy is playing as Ordos, okay, hold on, Puxii is Harkonnen. Hopefully TheRaffy is still Ordos, because I always like seeing people play as Ordos. Let's see what happens. And again, this is one version back. This is version 1.1.0, which after that there were a couple of fixes and a couple of graphical changes, so not a whole lot different necessarily. Well, I shouldn't say that. What I mean to say is there are quite a few differences. So even though this is only one version back, the latest version, 1.1.02, actually has a lot of changes compared to this version. So, this project moves pretty fast. I put a lot of extra time into this when I get a chance. So, you got to keep your eyes open. So, just keep that in mind. This is a version back. Here we are getting started, and TheRaffy is getting quite a bit of forward progress with his MCV. He's deciding to deploy close to the middle of the map. I think it's a great decision. And Puxii is deploying down here fairly close to the edge, and we've seen people have problems doing that before when they get hit with Merc attacks. So we shall see how well this works out for him. He is throwing down a bunch of refineries, and as always, he is starting with concrete first. Puxii is a big fan of economy. He drives economy very hard in this game, and I believe also other games that he plays, including StarCraft 2. So this is something that I definitely expect from him. He likes to save money whenever possible and to build up a large income, so he's always going to put down concrete to avoid that extra decay, that extra loss of credits that later on. So let's see what TheRaffy is doing. He is putting down, he's got looks like 5 refineries, and I expect him to put out another one shortly because it is very much his standard to drop 1 wind trap and then 6 refineries right away, and they will build in such a fashion so that there are always at least a couple of powered refineries able to continue building the harvesters that are currently queued up. So he loses very little time doing this. It's a pretty good tactic, I think. I think most people will probably start doing it soon. So a little more conservatively, it looks like Puxii has 4 refineries while TheRaffy has 6. And so right now, Puxii, he's in a position where he could start putting out he's doing some aggressive scouting there. I see he's going after a flak trike, and now he knows exactly where TheRaffy is deployed. So, he's in a position where he hasn't spent so much money right away, and he already has a bit of an economy up and running. So if he wanted to, he could start pumping out some units and getting them out there and available, and doing some rush tactics against TheRaffy, and it would probably be pretty effective. Here's me I'm just chatting here, talking about the fact that in this version 1.1.00, the observer couldn't see infantry that were inside crags. So, if you look on the map, on the mini map carefully, you can see a little dot of blue in that area of crags right around there where I was just looking before, where I was wiggling the mouse back and forth. And that was actually me just trying to show that there were infantry in there. They're on the map, but I can't see them just like his enemy can't see them. Excuse me. So, here is TheRaffy. He's starting to power up, and he's getting his high-tech factory. I'm sure he's got at least one carryall on the way if he doesn't have it yet. And he's got his economy moving. I'm sure he's starting to pour in some pretty healthy amounts of money, although he does need a carryall badly, because you can see he's going to end up with some real serious traffic jams here, especially with those 3 refineries that are all stacked on top of each other, because that refinery in the back is really only one way to get in there with the harvesters. So he does have a carryall out, and so does Puxii. Puxii always goes for carryalls as quickly as possible. Those are very much part of his strategy. So let's see what Puxii is doing. Puxii has a heavy vehicle and light vehicle factory out already, so he could be making some combat units if he wanted right now. He could be pouring. He could decide immediately to transition right now from economy into combat units, and he could make a raid against TheRaffy if he wanted, and might be successful. It really just depends on TheRaffy, whether he decides to also go for some quick combat potential. It looks like he's going to pump out some very light units, some trikes and raiders, and so he might not have a lot to go against it. But I see Puxii just pumped out an MCV, which costs a lot of money, and definitely means that he's going to go more to mid to late game build strategy. So he's going to try to make this game last longer, and I would expect TheRaffy actually to do the same thing. TheRaffy, one of his favorite things to do is as soon as possible to buy, say, 3 or 4 MCVs and quadruple or quintuple his production capabilities at his base, and just spread them around all over the place, including a proxy. He always likes to throw out a small proxy construction yard, usually surrounded by turrets, and he puts it out really close to the enemy's base. So not a whole lot of action going on right now, just a lot of building up. You can see it's worm sign now, so this is a situation where it's really up to the players to start micromanaging their harvesters a little bit and making sure that none of them do anything really stupid. Oh, I just saw one get eaten by Puxii's over at Puxii's base. There's another one going down, so unfortunately Puxii just lost a couple of harvesters. Hopefully they weren't full of spice. That's always unfortunate when that happens. But here's a case. Okay, so some of the things you got to think about in situations like this is if you have, carryalls will always try to assess how much distance there is between a unit and its final destination before they decide whether to pick it up. So if a harvester tries to get back to a refinery and it's only like 2 cells away, it's very likely that a carryall won't even try to pick it up. So it's just something you need to keep in mind, because really it is kind of pointless for a carryall to even try in some situations like that, because it's not going to happen. He's not going to be able to catch up with the unit in time. Nobody's going to save any time. So the carryalls try to be as intelligent as they can, but you do need to keep in mind, there's always a little bit of management you have to do on your own. And Puxii's he's losing harvesters left and right. They do take considerable time to rebuild. About 25 seconds, so that's a long time in game time. They're free, but they take a long time. So